how difficult it is to attract players to some clubs in Scotland that don't have limitless budgets. You've got that connection to Brentford. Is that something you can mine? And without being too cheeky, there's a really talented striker that you know very well, young Aaron. Is he somebody that you could bring in and persuade to come north?
You mean my son? I don't know if he'd want to play for his dad, to be honest. But look, I'll obviously assess the situation regarding a number of players. You know, I was involved in the development of quite a lot of the young players at Brentford, and I was fortunate enough to build some relationships with them. So we'll certainly look at it, but there's no guarantees around that. And again, I talk about the process. We'll not just bring those players in because of my connection. We'll have to go through the appropriate process. We'll have to agree on that they're the right players for Dundee at this time, and then we'll make the correct decision.
You've got a few players that are potentially on their way. I know there's a lot of speculation about Josh Mulligan. Are these the kind of people that you want to get tied down this summer before the pre-season kicks off?
I would love to, but you know, it's easier said than done. But of course, we'd love to keep certain personnel. There's a number of players that I think are pivotal to move this club in the right direction, and we'll be working tirelessly to do so. We've been obviously having discussions over the last couple of weeks on recruitment. We'll have a further discussion today. It's a very important aspect, and we're aware that we need to bring players in, but most importantly, we need to bring the right players in. So we have to find a balance between getting them in now, but getting the right player in. So we'll be working hard on that and be putting clear processes in place to achieve that.
Dundee were an exciting team to watch, maybe too exciting sometimes for the fans. It wasn't much into the tail end of the season that they were still on the fringes of a top six place. They didn't conclude that way just because of the problems that they had in defence. Is that one area in particular that you really need to get right from the beginning?
I think for every club, you know, success is often built from the foundations of defending. But equally, you want to be a team that's exciting and score goals. So it's always finding that balance. It's finding that balance. It never changes football. It's finding the balance between being an exciting team and being able to defend. And we'll work hard, trust me, on both aspects of that. There's no guarantees. There never is in football that it works. But we do understand what we're going to try and implement.
You've just about got a clean sweep. I think it's only Hibs now that you would need to have an association with in terms of negotiating derby teams in Scotland. Is that the kind of experience, having both sides of Glasgow, both sides here now in Dundee, will help you sort of navigate maybe some of the pitfalls?
Well, I hope so. It makes it also not so easy to find employment in Scotland because of my history. But listen, it's the reality of it, and from being a player to being a head coach, nothing ever changes. You know, wherever I go, I'll apply myself fully. I'll give the club that I'm at my full commitment. And as I said, I genuinely am really excited about this opportunity, and I'm very grateful to be given this opportunity.
Congratulations.
What's a realistic ambition for this season, Stephen?
I said before that, of course, top six is a target, and we'll certainly try to achieve that. But I think that it's important that we evaluate from within in certain ways, because we have to see progress in key areas, and we'll be working hard to do that. I don't like to, and it's the same on the style of play when people say, how's your team going to play? Well, I want the team to be adaptable. I want the team to play in a way where we can win games. I want us to be at times unpredictable. I want to be all of those things. And same with where we finish. We'd love to finish top six, but you just don't know what the season ahead holds. Are we plagued by injuries? Is there certain other contributing factors? There's so many issues. So for me to say that we want to achieve this is difficult, but I know that as a club we have the aspirations to reach top six.
How much are you looking forward to this first Dundee derby of the season, being involved in both sides?
I'm just looking forward to developing the group, to be perfectly honest. I haven't even thought about the Dundee derby at this moment. There's been so many things to put in place. We still have a number of coaches that we want to employ. There's a lot to do, a lot of work ahead of us, and then it's about building the team and building the way we play throughout the pre-season, the fitness of the team. There's so much to contend with in such a short period of time. So the Dundee derby, I'm sure, will take care of itself.
How much do you think your involvement at Brentford with players on a day-to-day basis in the role that you have there will benefit you to build the squad into where you want to take it?
Well, I hope so. You know, it was a really great role for myself in terms of education and understanding. It allowed me to form really strong relationships with the personnel and get to know the players. Sometimes it's true, sometimes when you go from the transition of being a player to a manager, we forget the difficulties of being a player. We really do, and being a football player is a hard journey. There's so much vulnerability about it, so much disappointment, so much pressures around the job, and working with the players very closely, you know, reminds me of just how difficult that journey can be. And it's really important that, you know, that we have that type of culture within this club where you can be vulnerable, and we're going to support each other, we're going to help each other, we're going to make you better. And that's what I want to be. I want to be a manager where my players feel they can come to me, they feel they can speak to me on issues that they have, and they're not scared to do so. So I'm just excited. I genuinely am, and the role has allowed me to develop in that way. It's allowed me to develop my softer side in many ways, and hopefully that will benefit me moving forward.
Why was Dundee Football Club the right move for you at this time?
I go back to the alignment aspect, that I think it was just right. I'd done my 4 years. This was always a summer, this was always a juncture in my career where I'd finished my university degree, my daughter was finishing school, I'd always intentions to sell my house this summer, and I'd just chosen to leave the role at Brentford to look for other opportunities that I felt were right. And of course this opportunity arose, and I spoke to the club, and I just felt it was right. And as I've said, I think it's a club just now with really good potential. So you get a feeling, and I've got to say the feeling was right.
Stephen, you mentioned your coaching set up. There are gaps there.
There are.
Who are you looking to bring in as your assistant first off?
I'm undecided on that, if I'm perfectly honest. If you look at my history, my long-term assistant was Neil McFarlane. Neil was also at Brentford, heading up the B team, and he's equally at a juncture in his career where maybe his next step will not be assistant coach but be manager. So I think the important thing for me is that I have got an idea in terms of how I want the role to function and the skill set of the individual. And I'm going to take my time, because I want somebody that's going to come in with those skills, but also come in and challenge and allow the club to grow. So for the short term, we'll be looking into that area, and I think David Longwell coming in gives us that gap as well. He can support us initially, along with Scotty Patterson with the coaching, and then, you know, David in time will transition more into his individual development role, but certainly short term he'll provide some really important experience and stability in that area.
What was your university degree in, Stephen?
Strategic leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Right, we're going to just sit down with the written guys, and then after that we'll go out and do photos and things for anyone, but we'll go over